Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chum here, and as you guys can see today, we have a brand new event in Duel Links, and we have the arrival of Syrus Truesdale, Jaden's best friend from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Now, you guys can see here, Syrus Truesdale has appeared in Duel World GX. Strengthen your deck by obtaining Rescueroid. Now, as excited as I am to finally have Syrus in the game, it is really disappointing to me that we don't get to unlock him, but rather he's just a regular roaming duelist. But at the same time, it's really cool that they finally brought him in, and we can now obtain some of his cards, and some of them are actually pretty interesting. So without further ado, let's go talk about those card rewards, shall we? So if we scroll down here, we're going to see a bunch of cards, as well as missions to obtain them. So once we play 15 duels against Syrus, we get a You Are the Rescueroid. Now this guy, when this card is summoned, you can target 2 Roid monsters in your graveyard, except Rescueroid, and add those targets to your hand. So this guy is very, very powerful. He's literally a +2. Now, of course, you have to have these monsters in the graveyard, but if you do have targets in the graveyard, you just summon this thing, get +2, and then you can fusion summon using this guy, so you don't have that 400 attack on the field, but rather you can, of course, get rid of it and get something more powerful, and have a +1 with your other card in hand, or even use 3 monsters to fuse. Could be really interesting. And of course, because it says when this card is summoned, you should be able to flip summon it and special summon it as well, so you can, have it in defense mode, or, do whatever other shenanigans you want to do. Now, moving on to the next card, we have Pair Cycroid. This guy is a fusion monster, of course, and requires 2 machine-type monsters with the same name to fuse, and this card can attack your opponent directly. Now, I actually think this is going to be a great card. Now, you don't see a lot of machine fusion decks, but when you do have a machine fusion deck, i.e. if you happen to be running Ancient Gear Golem and its ultimate form, Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, you're going to have a bunch of Ancient Gear Golems in your deck. You're going to have a bunch of probably Ancient Gear Knights, because he's one of the better Ancient Gear monsters, and if you happen to have 2 of those in your hand, but you can't, fuse for the 3rd and your opponent's low on life points, specifically 1600 or below, you can actually fuse for this guy and attack directly. So really, really cool card. Of course, we do have a lot of cards in rotation that will prevent you from getting this attack off, but if you are able to get it off, it can be really, really clutch, and I think it's going to be one of those cards you tech in your machine fusion deck just in case, because it could come through at some point. Now, so I definitely recommend trying to get one of these, and of course you can get this guy by winning 7 duels against Syrus. Now, moving on to the next fusion, or the next card, we have Rescueroid. This guy is of course, machine fusion requiring Rescueroid and Ambulanceroid, and this monster cannot be special summoned except by fusion summon. Once per turn, when a monster on your side of the field is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster in defense position. So basically, he turns everything into a wall, everything gets a second life. It's a really, really cool card. And with 2300 attack and 800 defense, it's actually not too bad for stats. Of course, you're going to want to make sure you do have your Rescueroids to refund those resources. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very costly for such a, I guess, average monster. Very, very cool with a really great effect, but a lot of resources go into making this guy. Anyway, guys, moving on to our next card, we have Rescueroid, which you can attain by winning 1 duel against Syrus, and of course you can probably obtain it from drops as well. And this guy is actually a level 6 monster with 1600 attack and 1800 defense, so not very great stat-wise, but its effect reads, when a Roid monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can return that monster to the owner's hand. So, not as powerful as Rescueroid, of course, because it's a fusion of Rescueroid, but this guy is really good at making sure that when your monsters are destroyed in battle, you're able to get them back and use them as resources to fuse again. So there's a lot of refueling here in this deck, as you can see. Then moving on to the next card, we have Ambulanceroid as a rare, and to get this card you have to achieve a no damage win against Syrus using Jaden. And this guy is a 300 attack, 1200 defense monster. When a Roid monster is added from your graveyard to your hand, you can special summon that monster. So a very, very cool little combo here. You can tell that having Rescueroid and Ambulanceroid on the field actually add up to having Rescueroid on your side of the field instead, because of course Rescueroid will get that monster back to your hand, and Ambulanceroid will get to the field. And of course, if you want to be safe with a more powerful monster, you fuse them together to get Rescueroid. So pretty cool stuff there. Literally, that fusion monster is the combination of the two. And then the final mission event reward we have is Supercharge. Achieve 3 no damage wins in duels against Syrus with Jaden. Of course, this card, when your opponent declares an attack, while the only monsters you control are machine type Roid monsters, draw 2 cards. So very, very cool card here. In fact, this is, I think, a very great card, because drawing 2 is always powerful. Draw power is super important in Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that your opponent just has to declare an attack where you control at least 1 Roid and no other non-Roid monsters is ridiculous. It's not very much required to actually pop up this card. When you do get that draw 2, you can start fusion summoning some more, and you can do some fun stuff. So I think this card could see play if Roids ever become a very powerful archetype. Now, moving on, we can also see there is a little bit more about these rewards. We can actually jump into them in a little bit, but let's actually cover Inverse Universe as well, because it's one of the recommended. Now, this card It's kind of like Sword and Shield, but it's a trap card. So switch the attack and defense of all face-up affected monsters on the field. And of course, it's important to note that it only affects effect monsters and nothing else. And we can see some other cards that we get as rewards. We've already covered the last 3, but the first one is Submarineroid. 800 attack, 1800 defense, level 4. This card can attack your opponent directly, but when it does, so using this effect, the damage inflicted to your opponent is the original attack of this card. So no matter what buffs you do to this monster, you will always do 800 attack if you attack directly with this effect. So keep that in mind. Then at the end of the damage step, if this card attacked or was attacked, you can change this card to defense position. So very, very cool stuff here. You can get an easy 800 direct, and you can go into defense mode to have that 1800 defense to protect you. And of course, if you have any kind of field spell or something that can defend it, or even just backward defend it, you can go for 800 next turn. So I think it's a pretty cool card. I'm not sure if it's going to replace the standards that we have for direct attacking, such as Skystar Rare or Inaba White Rabbit, but it's still a pretty good card. Anyway guys, let's jump out of here and let's actually have a look at Syrus' rewards, because I know there's a few that we haven't covered yet. So here he is, Syrus level 40, just chilling, and let's see what else we have. We've covered all of these. We haven't covered Carrieroid. Now this guy, level 4 water with 1000 attack, 800 defense. When an opponent activates a card's effect that targets and destroys a spell or trap card you control, you can discard one card to negate the activation and destroy the card. So it's a very, very specific effect. However, because cards that negate your card's effects usually destroy them, this guy can kind of counter negating effects as long as it's not used by a counter trap card, because of course counter trap cards can't be chained to without another counter trap card. But very, very interesting effect. I don't think this card getting too much play because, again, it's very situational. This card is kind of hard to keep on the field with its lowest attack stats, but still very, very interesting. And finally, the last card that we can get from Syrus in this event is Patroid. Once per turn during your main phase, you can look at one face-down card your opponent controls, then return it to its original position. So very, very interesting stuff. This guy has 1200 attack, 1200 defense. Not the worst monster in the world, but I have to say, the fact that you can actually look at an opponent's face-down is very, very useful. You can always be prepared for what's in the back row, especially if they're not setting too many cards. You can kind of keep peeking at what they have back there and do some fun stuff. Anyway guys, let's jump into Duel and see what we can do. I'm currently running a Paladin farm deck. Let's see how well this deck does against Syrus, and let's give it a shot. And of course, I'm going to be spending my entire day today trying to figure out how to farm Syrus the best and put up that video ASAP. And if you guys haven't already seen it, there'll be a card in this video that you can click on at any time, so you guys can check that out. Anyway, here we are in the duel. Let's jump into it. We have the worst hand possible. What on earth? What on earth? We actually got... Ooh, he has Steamoid. We don't have access to this. Rude. Alright. Fun time. We're just gonna... We should... This is ridiculous. Look at this. What is this hand, bro? Alright, so we lose. Exciting. This is my average luck in the game period. I don't know how I ever made the King of Games even once. But hey, maybe we can get lucky and get a pity SR or a pity UR? Please? That'd be nice. Damn, I actually thought we got one for a second. But of course, everything says new because we haven't got any of the cards. But we did get a foil supercharge, which is kind of cool. Anyway, guys, you can see we got blown back. And of course, the deck's not going to work if it doesn't work. So I'm definitely, like I said, going to try it again later. Try and learn exactly how to farm Syrus and put up a video as soon as possible. So that's going to be doing for the rest of the day. Either way, let me know what you think about this event. Do you think it sucks that we don't get to have him as an unlockable character? Do you think his cards are going to be playable? Do you think they suck? I don't know. Let me know what you think about Syrus' cards. I personally don't think they're going to be that amazing. And as much as I've wanted Syrus in the game for such a long time, I never really believed that getting Roids would be a big game changer. And it sucks that they're bringing Roids now as part of the event, but not Syrus. Because it'd be a lot more exciting to get Roids with Syrus than to get Roids and not have Syrus unlockable. So... a really interesting idea in an event, especially since we haven't got any new GX characters in quite a while. We've only got one since launch, which was, what, 4 to 5 months ago? Like, come on, Konami, pick it up, give us more GX characters. That's what we want. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button. And, of course, if you guys want to see more content from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links in the future, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be doing a bunch more videos about this game featuring all sorts of new events and the best ways to play them. So, like I said, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.